What if I were to say to you, time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so? This short but very complex quote comes from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has swept the nation with its original 1979 book, as well as 5 sequel books to that, as well as a movie, a radio series, a newer movie, and the radio series as a book, and much, much more, as it is seriously a philosophy, sci-fi extravaganza. But for today, we're only going to be focusing on one very small quote. Time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so. You might be curious what this actually means, as time is not an illusion. Time is a very real thing. We, as the human race, have been recording time for over 5,000 years. Just like most concepts that we know and love today, time can find its roots all the way back to ancient Egypt with the invention of sundials. As we look at the sun moving across the sky, we can see on the sundial its shadow moving across the ground, and we can see what time it is. But in its truest form, time is still an illusion. There are many, many routes in which we can look at time as an illusion. First things first is when we see things move faster or slower. For instance, when we're bored, time seems to be dragging on. And then when we're having a really great time, time is zipping by. It couldn't be going faster. Perception, baby. Time is truly an illusion because it is down to our perception of it. And we can scientifically pinpoint time with things like change or carbon dating, but in its truest reality, that is not the most trustworthy thing in the world. You might not know this, but global warming has made carbon dating almost impossible, just so you know. But a huge point in the fact that time is an abstraction of our perception is time zones. What time it is for me is not necessarily the same time it is for everyone else on the planet. Of course, time zones do all change on the hour, and so we do use the same minutes and do use the same sort of clock, but all around the world it is different perceptions and different times. On a local scale, time can also be very different for everyone's perception, for everyone around you, even in your own house. It all has to do with your own perception of it. For example, what if you are just having a leisurely day and you're having a good time, strolling around, and someone else is having a terrible day, zipping by, doing as much as they possibly can, and yet everything is just going terribly wrong, time-wise. You know, when you're having a terrible time and time is zipping by as fast as it can and as slow as possible at the actual same time, those time perceptions are very different. You and this other person are in a different temporal headspace. Say it's 6 o'clock for you and you're like, nice, I got the rest of my night ahead of me. I'm just gonna make a little chill dinner and have the most fun. And the other person, yeah, it's 6 o'clock, the normal time to do chill things, but maybe they have a third shift job that they're rushing to get to, or maybe they are still working on something else, and yet you're on a completely different field time-wise. Time is an illusion. What's fantastic about the quote, "Time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so," is that it points out the social construct that is time, but much so the social construct that is lunch. You might know this already, but in the southern parts of America, people don't say lunch, they say dinner, and for dinner they say supper. Or in France, for lunch they eat the biggest meal of their day and eat a very small portion for dinner. And in their mind, what we would consider to be dinner is their lunch. And what we would consider to be lunch, their lunch is flippin' huge. Doesn't make any sense. You're gonna eat that and eat dinner? How? And it's that they're not. They're gonna eat that and then a small meal. But realistically, lunch can be at a different time for every single human ever. Not if you're in school, per se, but if your school has more than one time for lunch, those people have different times for lunch. And so lunchtime itself is whenever you make it to be lunchtime. But I love a good pointing out at the social construct that is everything we live our life around, especially time itself, to which we actually truly live all of our life around. Not everyone lives on the same time plan, the same sleep schedule, if you will. And yet we have to devote our specific times to when things are open. Say you live out in the middle of nowhere and all the shops and stores and grocery stores and everything closes at 5. In those cases, for everyone who lives in that area, you have to live your life around when you need to be grocery shopping. It has to be in the early morning. You have to almost be a morning person to live in a town like that. So, lunchtime is any time you flippin' want it to be. Just like everything else in the world. College time, it's not directly after high school if you don't want it to be. To go on a small tangent here, the gap year between high school and college practically saved my sanity, and I couldn't have lived without it. Those who just go from one to the next, I don't know if you're not realizing it, but literally you're not taking a break between preschool and your adulthood. So, college time is whenever time you want it to be. Just saying. Realistically, it can be literally when you're 30. That's fine too. We create these times in which we're supposed to do things, but we're not supposed to do anything. It's a social construct that we all just kind of live by. So yeah, time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. So altogether we have time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so. Put together, lunch absolutely means nothing because it is a double illusion. If time is relatively a social construct, then anything that we put within this bubble is even more of a social construct than it already was in the first place. And so, for instance, when is lunchtime? When is time? When would the lunch be if time didn't exist? Would lunchtime exist? No, it wouldn't. The time for lunch would be whenever you eat your second meal throughout the day, but truly, lunchtime cannot exist without time, and time cannot exist without humans recording what time is. Time does exist outside of our human recording of it, but only through our observation can time be observed. In the classic sense of our solipsistic nature of humanity, nothing exists without our observing it. Realistically, change is the only evidence of time happening. Ever. Change. Change is time. Time is change. They are one in the same without humans pointing numbers at things. Without humans saying, the sun is up, that means it's daytime. The sun is down, that means it's nighttime. To get even further away from this entire situation, humans created language in which we create things with it. And so we cannot label all of the numbers of time without first creating the numbers to read them, without first creating the word time, without first creating the word lunch. We cannot have lunchtime. And so lunchtime is an illusion, time is an illusion, language itself is an illusion. It is all perception. If you did not speak English right now, this wouldn't work out very well. My words would come off as not words. They would be illusory, an illusion, not really real? Observable? Yes. But understandable? No. So, humans observe time. We're fairly obsessed with it. And we have been for over 5,000 years, but maybe more. Maybe sometime in the history of history, we deleted a few hundred years, or a few thousand. Who actually knows? I'd like to say, question everything, but also maybe carbon dating is still trustable. I don't think it is. Carbon dating just doesn't work anymore because, global warming. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, after Ford Prefect says this,
"Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so."
Arthur Dent says very deep.
Very deep. You should send that into the Reader's Digest. They've got a page for people like you.
To which is a dig in saying that this quote means nothing. You're saying a non-deep thing. It's a fake deep. And many people on the internet have come to kind of agree with this, that time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so actually means nothing, no matter how many times you look at the words. But don't get this confused with what's actually correct. It is one of the most smartest quotes in the entire book, to which the entire book and all of the books are filled with very, very, very smart quotes. But this one, in the introduction of the first book, sets you off to a fantastic pace of how smart the entire series is going to be. Time is an illusion. We invented time. Lunchtime is an illusion. We invented everything that has to do with lunch and time and lunchtime. It can literally be at any time. There is no one lunchtime. There is no one time. So is it a silly quote that goes on this fake deep Reader's Digest page? No. It is an incredibly brilliant and philosophical quote that questions our very existence and the phenomenology that is our existence and labeling things and language itself. So, very smart indeed. It is a good quote. For my longtime viewers, you'll know that this is the second installment of explaining a tiny thing from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The first one I did was on the talking animal that wanted you to eat it. Sentient food, should we eat it? But as I look back on my older videos, I constantly want to just redo them. If you'd be down, I would love to do more of this. Tiny little quotes blown up to huge proportions. That's a philosopher's dream right there. With that, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this quote every time you hear it when watching or listening or reading to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? For me, it just makes me laugh. As someone who's worked third shift and also has a very strange sleep schedule, time is 100% an illusion. I can carry out a normally paced day and still wake up after business is closed. That's fine. I can also eat my second meal of the day at any point throughout the entire day. If you're a hobbit, it's the second in 11 different freaking meals. And it's not even the second one. It's just around the middle-ish one, okay? So again, I should have even brought that up before. Lunchtime is an illusion. Just ask a freaking hobbit. He would say, what do you mean the second meal? You mean the first of many, many, many meals? I hope you guys really enjoyed this off-the-cuff, absolutely scriptless video. I was listening to the radio primary phase of Hitchhiker's Guide, and so I just really wanted to make this video completely scriptless, even though I have a written script for, Horton Hears a Who. But, that's fine, right? If you guys enjoyed this, it's super exciting. So let me know what you think, and we can kind of do this off-the-cuff stuff more often. Oh, again, toasty up in here. Okay, with that, I will bid you adieu. And for all of my supporters out there, thank you so much. If you've gotten all the way to the end of this video, you are amazing, super duper superstar trooper. And yeah, thank you so much again. I'm not sure how to end this. Time isn't an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so, right? Okay, catch you on the next one. Bye.
For one of these days that will never York Times.